You see, the way that the West has historically dealt with other countries has been a very predatory and a very vicious approach. And I think that that reveals to a certain extent what they must understand on some level about their own civilization, about their own culture, that they feel that in order to get access to resources that other countries have, they must oppress and subjugate them. They must use violence because they know that they don't have anything to offer to those countries and to those people that would make them inclined towards sharing their resources with them. They don't have anything to offer those countries that would make them genuinely want to be allies with them, to be partners with them. They understand that if they don't subjugate these countries, if they don't use violence against these countries, and if these countries have any option to not deal with them, they won't deal with them. But that's not the way a civilized society would behave. Contrast that with the story of Hajjr, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave her the well of Zam Zam. This is a woman with an infant alone in the desert, who now suddenly has access to a self-replenishing well of fresh, nourishing water. When tribes and caravans would pass by, these are people who have been traveling through the desert, who desperately need water. But when they saw the well of Zam Zam and they saw that it belonged to Hajjr, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had bestowed it upon her, no one tried to plunder it, no one tried to take it from her, no one tried to kill her and take control of Zam Zam. But instead they dealt with her with respect, with honor and dignity, because that's what civilized people would do. If they want access to resources that someone else possesses, you build a strong relationship with them, you have good relations with them, you deal with them with respect and dignity, and prove your value to them, show your value to them, so that they will be inclined to share with you, so that they will be inclined to form partnerships with you, so that they will, out of friendship, out of goodness, out of goodwill, they will share their resources with you, because they will care about you. That's what civilized people would do. What the West has done historically, and is doing right now, is to behave like a predator. So whenever they see someone who has a resource that they either need or want to have control of, so that they can determine whether or not anyone else can have access to it, whenever they see someone with a resource that they're interested in, why, they treat them as nothing but prey. And they do everything in their power to subjugate them and to oppress them and to exploit them. But there's no reason why the Muslim countries and the other countries in the global south should take that approach. There's no reason why capitalism has to be completely devoid of social responsibility. There's no reason why capitalism has to be completely devoid of social morality. You can practice capitalism. You can pursue profit, but still have some morality, still have some decency, and have some sense of enlightened self-interest, whereby you can see that mutual benefit is beneficial for everyone. Rather than just pursuing short-term profits for yourself only, you can see the value and the long-term sustainable value of building solidarity between countries, between peoples, between nations, and between private sectors, so that you can pursue long-term sustainable value, long-term sustainable profitability that will be beneficial for not only one company or two companies or one oligarch or two oligarchs, but for entire nations and for entire regions. So with the pivot to the global south, with the pivot east, I hope that the nations of the global south and the nations of the Muslim world can begin to approach business, can begin to approach the private sector, and can begin to approach their bilateral and multilateral relations with a completely different mindset, in a completely different paradigm than what we've been used to for the last 100, 200, 300 years. And instead of approaching it with a competitive and predatory mindset, approach it with a solidarity mindset, and can help uplift every nation that has been subjugated by the West for as long as there's been something called the West. Jazakumullahu khairan wa assalamu alaikum.